In this video, we're going to talk about how to create a simple pattern in Illustrator and then take that pattern and put it inside of a clipping path or inside of a clipping group. So those of you following along with the Illustrator file, there are some specific, written out directions for how to go about doing what I'm about to sort of demonstrate. And you can go through and try each of these steps. But the way that you're going to essentially do this is you have here, this is just simple shapes that are grouped together. And there's a group here with 4 of these duplicated kind of flower petals and then, the inner part of the flower. And then that group is duplicated and rotated off on its side. So I'm going to select those. And then to start a pattern, I'm going to go up to Object, down to Pattern, and just say Make. And then what it'll do is it's going to say a pattern has been added to your swatches. And you can say, okay. And then from there, we can name it, and I'll just say flower pattern. You can call it whatever. And I'm going to use some specific settings that I've already identified look pretty good for this one. So, but as you're making your own patterns, you sort of have to go through and try, different tile types and offsets and, different settings here. But just as an example, we'll say brick by column, offset it by 1/4, and then we'll click on size tile to art and set the horizontal and vertical spacing to 0.75 for both of those, and we'll leave the copies at 5 by 5. And then up here we'll click done, and then from there there's a new swatch that exists in our swatches. And if I go in and say, okay, I'll just grab the ellipse tool and I'll start to draw something. Whoops, and I need to be on the right swatch. Then you can see, okay, there's our pattern, right? That's inside of this shape that I just drew here. Now, this is behaving somewhat like a clipping mask already, but we can then apply this to more specific shapes. But before we do, being able to transform the scale and rotate the pattern is often something that you'll need to do. And it's not going to work just by using the selection tool, because that's going to sort of resize the container for the pattern, that in this case is just this ellipse. So we can go up to Object and then down to Transform, and we want to go to Scale in this case. And then you have the option to transform the object or transform the pattern itself. So we just want to say, I don't want to change the object, but I do want to change, the pattern. And so I can scale it down to like 50%. It's going to become smaller with inside that container. Now the other thing I could do is just use the scale tool. That is keyboard shortcut S. And I could hold the tilde key on my keyboard, which is up by the number 1. And then when I start to drag this pattern with my mouse, it's going to resize, more dynamically. And that might look good, might not. Let's say that looks fine. The other thing you could do is rotate. So you have the same 2 types of approaches: object, transform, rotate. We want to just transform this pattern. So then what we can do is, adjust the angle of it inside of here. Or more dynamically, we can just use the rotate tool, keyboard shortcut R, and then hold down that tilde and drag over top of this to, if we wanted to, for whatever reason, rotate our pattern. So that's some pattern basics, and what we'll do as a next step is take that pattern and put it into this illustration that we've been working with a little bit.